So, like, the cops who are involved are doing everything they can, including the shelter staff, to make me look like a crazy homeless person who has no, like, idea of reality and functioning, which is what they are, right? And they're really, like, all of them are white, by the way, and they're convinced that this is Europe. I don't know what to tell them because I can't say anything to them to make them understand that this isn't Europe and they can't do that stuff outside of Europe. I mean, they would have a right to do so outside of Europe, right? I mean, inside of Europe, not outside of Europe. But since this isn't Europe and this is a land where it's not even their native home, like, they really have no right to say and do those things. Since especially, like, they're not even, like, defending the natives or whatever. So, like, I don't believe it. A lot of people don't believe it. In fact, anybody with half a brain can see that they've been stealing and that's why they're doing this. And it encompasses not just people from Canada, but apparently from the US and other places in the world. And there is actually a correlation between a person's ability to make money or earn an income and the type of person that they are. And I think when they max that out, because if you're, like, not a very good person, you're not gonna make a very good income. Right? Like, because of your personal values, you're gonna end up coming to a point where you can't make any more income because you've screwed enough people over, or you've made enough money just to pay people back because of how you're doing your business. And after all that, like, thing is sorted, like, because people can tell, right? They don't actually understand how the business work or how economy works. That's what I'm reading. They're very superficial and shallow, and they don't understand economics or business ethics or business. Business is a legitimate course that people take in university. Like, you can get a master's in business administration or something, and finance and stuff like that. Again, they don't really understand this. So they think that, like, if they do this thing to me, everyone else is going to be convinced because they're convinced that it's working. Right? That I look like a crazy homeless person and I just sold all my stuff for drug money, clearly, right? And I am doing this to myself intentionally, and has nothing to do with what they did. And because this is happening, it means that they're actually very poor people and they're not very valuable in life to society, because it reflects on how much money they're able to make. That's why they resorted to scamming people and me. That's why people start scamming people, okay? Like, that's why there's con artists and cons. It's a textbook scam, con artist, whatever. Yeah, that's what that is. Conning somebody, or like a confidence trick, is when somebody pretends to be better than they actually are, or pretends to be doing better than they actually are, in order to negate the other person's experiences and or feelings through repeated harassment, right? And it involves a lot of people, and the whole point is to lower that person's self-esteem so much and make them think that there's no other resource to turn to the point where they stop actually doing something to help themselves and ask the con artist for help. That's what a confidence trick is, okay? A lot of people who pull this are criminals. They go in and out of prison all the time. They get caught. They have to pay people back for the money that they've stolen, and they never learn. They think that if they just do it to different people because it was just the wrong person or the wrong time, if they can do it again, like, there's a way to keep all that money. Like, they buy into the get-rich-quick scheme, right? So that's what they were doing. I don't believe them. A lot of people don't believe them. I think it's just really surprising that everybody that I've encountered in Canada was like this. I've met very few people who actually came up to see me in person, and they actually had to take a closer look to be like, oh, they were actually lying. But the reason why they were so skeptical is because everybody, including government workers and police officers and shelter workers and people in authority positions that they should be able to trust, right? We're doing this to scam people out of their money. It's really, like, I've read this online all the time about beware of scammers, buyer beware. There's people trying to scam people out of everything from their life savings to their house or whatever. There's people trying to scam people out of, like, their clothes, their bank account, all that kind of stuff. Don't send your bank account information online. that kind of stuff. And it's like, I've been like reading those warnings since I was a kid, since I first started using the internet, so I know that like those things are real, right, and legitimate. Whereas like with things like with people who aren't so like internet savvy, I guess like to them it seems like a new concept. But people have been doing scams for a long time, and the reason is that they've run out of money. And they run out of money and reputation, and they can't make more money anymore. They can't generate an income or revenue at a point where they can do well in life. Right? So now this is weird. This is the part where it does make sense why people are skeptical, which is why they were hoping for the best case scenario, which is I did something wrong and this is how I'm being punished, right? But I didn't. Because the government was involved in this, which means everyone else is screwed, right? People were expecting them to be able to be functional and be honest and be able to do their own work instead of copying other people at the expense of the person they're copying, right? Because that's called a scam. Those sweatshops are a scam. Yeah, so why are they doing this to me? Because they can't earn an income anymore, because they don't have any personal value. Because they keep screwing people over and cheating them out of their money or their products or their services. People get pissed off, their reputation spreads, and boom, they can't actually do anything. No one trusts them anymore, and now they're like looking for new people to scam because they want more money. That's it. They just want things that are superficial, materialistic, and vain because they think they'll compensate for the lack of things that they are. Like a good person. Like, if I have good things, I'm a good person. That kind of logic. But yeah, that's why they were scamming me. And a lot of people, like, I guess they thought that as long as they had the product, it's the same thing as legitimately acquiring said product. It's not. Like, a lot of people, like, I understand, it seems plausible. Like, it might be possible if it wasn't for the fact that it wasn't me and for who they are. Right? Like, I'm not discounting the things that they're claiming doesn't happen. It does. The problem is that it doesn't happen to people like them. Right? And they keep taking those stories and those defenses as their own, and they keep claiming that that's what's happened to them when it actually hasn't. That's actually very psychopathic of them. It's very often seen in prison populations. A lot of people are notorious for this, which is why they never actually end up leaving prison. Some people piss the other prisoners off to the point where they get stabbed in prison. Imagine having to listen to their bullshit day in, day out. Like, oh, they're like, okay, we literally have a video recording of you stabbing an innocent person for no reason. And they're like, no, that wasn't me, that was my friend. Like, you don't understand. I was forced to do it because the government thinks that I am responsible for the genocide in Africa, and I live in the USA. You don't understand what my life is like. You are the wrong person here. You can talk to my lawyer. They don't actually have a lawyer because no lawyer is willing to defend them. So they actually bring in somebody who acts as a lawyer or a paralegal, or like they get a court-appointed lawyer. Right? That's their defense. And like, it's crazy. It never works. And obviously they go to prison. And then they're like, no, it's not me. It's somebody else. Like, it wasn't me. Like, this is the reason. Like, I didn't know that was a crime. Okay? I didn't know that was illegal. Like, you can't blame me. That's their defense all the time. And I guess like they didn't know that happened before to other people. So that's why there are people who saw that before. They stay away from it. I would. If I saw that, I'd be like, I'm not going near that. Yeah, that's what they were doing. A lot of them, to be fair, were severely abused as children. Like, I'm talking like malnutrition. No one actually cared about them. Like, they don't actually have any outside, like, they acquired no skills. They have like no experience in anything. They didn't even have friends to hang out with. Like, that's how bad it was for them. Like, after school, you know, those sleepovers and like going to other friends' houses and like doing school projects, they had nobody to do that with. Like, no kid wanted to hang out with them after school because they're so weird and so creepy. right? And like sometimes like the parents would force somebody else's kids to hang out with them so they wouldn't be so alone. And honestly, that's what Susan tried to make me believe that it was for me for a lot of times. And she was actually, the foster parent was the one that was like really responsible for why things went the way it did, because everyone who was racist believed her, right? And it's so easy to trick racists. Like, they're so stupid, they'll believe anything. But I mean, I guess that's why they didn't understand that legal defense doesn't cover racism. You can't be like, oh, Your Honor, I'm racist, please exempt me from this case. That's not how that works, unfortunately. But yeah, like, honestly, I don't care that much about what they're saying or doing, because it's not affecting me at the end of the day as much. I mean, if it started to affect me, then I would start caring. But like, other than the harassment, which is like just pissing me off, and sometimes I can't sleep because they keep harassing me. Some people walk up to me while I'm falling asleep, and then they just put fleas on Preston or go through my bag or like unlatch one of my bags, and I'm like, why would you do that? They're just weird like that, you know? I don't know why they do that, but they do stuff like that, and I don't know what to say to them other than like, why can't you just leave strangers alone? That's just weird, dude. And it's the weirdest thing is that they think I'm being weird. I'm like, I'm not being weird, you're the one being weird. I'm not even doing anything. I'm like literally sitting here, as some idiot would come by and try to like harass me into giving him my money, and I'm like, why would I do that? But yeah, those are the poor people. There's a lot of them in Canada. I'm tired, man. They're really stupid. Like, everybody that I've met so far was incredibly idiotic, and they had no idea what wasn't and was okay, and they thought because the teacher said it was okay, everyone thought it was okay. Like, that's how that works in life, right? Because your teacher is like your be-all end-all to all that kind of stuff. And they were making fun of me for being Buddhist. And I was like, I don't understand your psychosis. Like, they needed to have seen a psychiatrist, like, back then. I don't think any of them actually went through a psych eval, and it's gonna, like, bite them in the ass when they're, like, 40. But I don't know. Yeah, with the U of T kids, like, they actually, like, fucked up big time. And they thought that, like, it was me that fucked up, because they're like, yeah, you can just, like, use her because that's what she's for, because she literally wronged us in her past lives. Yeah, Chantal, like, she, like, fucked up with us. She made a mistake to us, which is why we can use her. And I'm like, yeah, that's the only reason you can use somebody. Like, there's no reason for you to use me now, because I didn't do anything to you. Like, you guys don't get it. They're socially retarded, and I'm starting to suspect they might be actually retarded. I met a woman today who wouldn't leave me alone, and I was like, why would I want you? She's like, call me, and I'm like, I'm not gonna call you. Unfortunately, she was weird. The entire time she was just like, oh, so like, do you like blah 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 blah, and I was like, why are you telling me everyone's going to prison? That's so weird. She's literally telling me everyone that did this to me is gonna end up in prison, they're gonna have to pay me back, and I'm like, yeah, I already know that. And then they're like, why don't you just leave now? And I'm like, leave? Why don't you leave? Honestly, I feel like you don't even have a right to stay here. Like, parents are legal immigrants. You're just a fugitive. Like, get out of my face.